guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. I am so excited because today we get to talk about rejection and we get to go deep into the emotional body and understanding what rejection actually is. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for being here on the live. Thank you for being here on the replay. My name is Noelle Agape. I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness, and we are tapping into merging into science and spirituality and understanding the emotional body and the electromagnetic fields and the quantum fields. I'm a quantum energy trainer and NLP trainer and a licensed counselor. And I want to tell you guys that today is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it is such a powerful topic for so many to understand that rejection is actually divine protection. And we're going to go into the energy behind that and understanding in the energetic fields of what actually happens in the infinite field of possibilities and how you're actually tapped into an energy that is either protecting you or it is an energy that is actually telling you that you need more growth. So it is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I am so grateful to be here. Thank you guys so much again for being on the live, for being on the replay. The great news is that rejection is such a huge part of your emotional body, right? And when we get rejected, what is rejection, right? Rejection is when somebody or something, you don't get the job, you don't get the person, you don't get the whatever it is that you're anticipating. But the great part of rejection is that it is the biggest teaching component that is in the emotional body, like completely. You have to flip the switch on the perception of rejection when you understand that so many people have deep emotional attachments. And when you have attachment energy, that's when actually that you spiral. And I call it the monkey brain, right? You go down this loop of I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable. And you try really hard and you go into this super needy energy of needing the person's approval or validation or whatever it may be, whether it was the job, whether it was the relationship, whatever it may be. But rejection is actually one of my favorite energies to work with. Why? Because it allows you, one, for self-growth, but two, it allows you and shows you exactly where you are in the vibratory fields, right? And so if you are desiring something and you're not in alignment with it, what will happen is your resistance will come up in the electromagnetic fields, right? We merge science and spirituality and talk about the quantum fields on this show. And so rejection is nothing more than a divine protection. And so God has three choices for you. It is a hell yes, let's go. It is a not now, or it is a firm no, there is something better, right? And when you understand that rejection is such a powerful tool to use in the emotional body because it actually allows you to see that you're attached to something. If you're feeling feelings of rejection and you're feeling unworthy and you're like chasing something, that means you're actually chasing after the thing as opposed to allowing it to come to you, right? So you're not receiving whatever it is that you're desiring. And that's what rejection is that you're not, it seems like that the outside forces are actually taking something from you, but what's really going on with rejection is that you are not receiving the energy. So you're not receiving it because there's something better for you. You're not receiving it because you're not in alignment with it, or you're not receiving it because it's just not timing right now and you have work to do. So it always comes down to your inner world as a reflection to your outer world. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the electromagnetic fields, as I always do on this channel, because it's super important to understand, especially with rejection, what is going on energetically with the energy of rejection. So electro is the thoughts, right? It's the heightened sense of thought. And the magnetic is the heightened sense of emotion, right? So everything that is going on in your inner world is a reflection of your outer world. And this is a huge quantum concept. But the truth is that every single person, every single thing that comes into your life is mirroring what's going on within you. And there's an infinite field of possibilities. And so rejection is actually allowing you to take accountability for what's going on with inside of you. And so the thoughts, right? What's your thoughts around this thing that you desire that something said no to you, what someone or something said no to you is, and what's your heightened sense of emotion around it, right? Because that's what you're pulling in. And behind that is your belief system, right? And so when you understand that rejection is always showing you where your vibration is. It is always showing you where your vibration is. You are not in alignment with whatever is rejecting you. And maybe it's a good thing. Maybe on the other end of that rejection, there's something so much better that you're actually not allowing yourself to move into. And so we have an energy cap, right? And we have to move through energy caps as we grow and expand. And we speak about expansion so much and soul expansion on this channel. Rejection is soul expansion. And I will say that again. Rejection is soul expansion. Rejection is contracted energy, right? And it is a no, not now, or there's something better for you, but it is a contracted energy because you're not in alignment with your desire. And so what happens with rejection often is we go into this emotional turmoil where it's like, oh my gosh, this job doesn't want me. I'm not good enough. How can I be better? And all of these things, right? Or the person doesn't want me and you get rejected. But with me, it's quite the opposite. Actually, I'm a little funky with it because I know the quantum fields and I manipulate time and space and energy so much that with rejection, I'm like, oh hell yeah, let's go. And I kind of go into it just like fear. It's this like conquering energy for me, right? Like, okay, God, let's go. So this is a rejection here. So what's over on the other side of this rejection? What work do I need to do? Oh, okay. Where was I not in alignment with that person, or where was I not in alignment with, is that person not in alignment with my values, right? Or where is that job not in alignment? This is where you get to play a game with your energy. This is where you get to play a game in the universe. This is where you get to manipulate your energetic fields and time and space. And this is where I'm a master at, right? This is where you get to say, okay, I'm going to play a game of chess with this rejection, not with the person, not with a job, because they're just reflecting you. Like everything in your life, whether it is Bob down the street or the relationships that you're in, your children, it is a reflection of what's going on inside of your internal world. And from that space, guys, understanding that it is all you, like it is all you, you create your reality. There's an infinite field of possibilities that you can tap into. The version of that person that was rejecting you is showing up because it's showing you where you are the version of you. Big concept, but it's so fun and so cool to work with when you understand rejection in this way. When you look at rejection and you're like, oh, hey, rejection, what's up? I actually was working with rejection a lot this week, and a lot of stuff came up. And what happens when you're at your upper limits is what it's called. And your upper limits is when things are going really, really, really well in your life. And it's like amazing and incredible. But your unconscious or your subconscious belief doesn't believe that you deserve more than that. So you can't break through that upper limit barrier. What happens most of the time in that space is rejection comes in. Rejection comes in some way, whether it's, your body rejecting you and you get sick, or whether it is a job rejecting you or a relationship or something. Rejection usually comes in right about the peak point between the desire and the manifestation coming into reality and your upper limits of you believing that you can have that manifestation. So the rejection comes in right at the point where you're at the pivotal point where moving through that upper limit. But your subconscious breaks it down because you're not in the space where you're energetically aligned with your desire. Or the desire is actually not in alignment with you and your higher self and your higher purpose, and there's something greater on the other side of it. So yes, you have to do the inner work with rejection, but the cool thing is, guys, is that when you look at rejection, and I really kind of am a little warped in this sense, because like fear and anger and rejection are the three things that I work with big time. Like I work with them with all of my clients, but I work with them mostly within myself. And I use them, like I use fear as a motivator. We jump off cliffs for a living. I travel around the world. Right. And those are things that I use fear as a motivator. Anger is one neurotransmitter away from passion, right? So if you turn that anger or into passion and you move it into your desire, that is a heightened sense of emotion, right? The electromagnetic fields and the thoughts behind it. That's a little key hack right there. Fear is really just on the other end of fear is everything that you want. So if you use fear as a motivator and you pull that energy and all that anxiety that you have within you and you move it towards your manifestation instead, it is crazy how fast you will manifest. Rejection, on the other hand, and now this is a big one because rejection is self-worth, it is self-love. There's something bigger on the other side for you, and it is your upper limits. So it's a little bit different than fear and anger, because fear and anger are like, all right, hey fear, hey anger, let's go, and use them as a motivator. Rejection, one, you have to do the inner work and be like, okay, what is this teaching me? Is this, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not safe, secure, and protected right now, I'm not lovable, I'm not whole and complete. Where am I in alignment with my desire, right? Because I'm at my upper limit. I'm getting rejected because I'm at my upper limit, where my unconscious belief doesn't believe that I can have this desire, or there's something better for me on the other side. So with rejection, you kind of have to play a game of chess, because it's about detaching, right? It's literally about detaching and not being in needy energy, and understanding your self-worth and self-value, and moving from that space, right? So big, huge concept. But I love working with rejection, because when you work with rejection, and I have this inner thing with rejection, me and rejection have a relationship, right? And I spend time when I'm getting rejected from something, I spend time with God and me and my highest self. And I'm like, okay, is it because there's something better? Maybe. Is it because I was so attached and I was so needy to the outcome? Maybe. Is it because it is not, the timing's not right, right? I'm not in alignment. Or is it just a hell no, right? And so you have to ask yourself those questions and go into your unconscious and your subconscious, because it knows it. Your body is so intelligent, and your mind is a machine and computer, and your highest self knows everything. There's an infinite field of possibilities that you can literally tap into at any moment in any time. So the rejection is showing you where you are in the vibratory field. So the game of chess with rejection is, one, where are your attachments? Are you attached to an outcome? Are you attached to a person? Are you attached to, not feeling worthy, good enough, safe, secure, and protected, whatever it may be, right? So that's the first step. That's step one. Step two is you do the inner work. Okay, so at this moment in time, when this happened and this rejection happened, I was actually feeling this. Why was I feeling this? Oh, okay. It's an inner child wound, right? And so you go in and you start to heal the inner child. Next, you go in and you're like, oh, okay. So what is it teaching me? It was teaching me that I am worthy and to be in my self-love. The final step is the detachment piece, which so many people have the problem with, the detachment and the rejection, because what happens is they think that this outcome is the most important thing, and they fall in love with a person. They fall in love with the idea of the desire. They fall in love, but really all they need to do is just let go and lean back a little bit and figure out what that rejection is teaching you. What part of yourself, and this is the biggest question that I could teach you guys, what part of yourself are you rejecting? Because if rejection is showing up in your fields, in your energetic fields, it is telling you that there is part of you that you're rejecting, right? Part of your upper limit that you're supposed to break through. So for me, a lot of it, it's this, I teach this stuff, and I believe with my soul that God and I have an agreement that I go through things and then I teach them, and then I go through things and I teach them, because I have the ability as a quantum energy trainer and a counselor and an NLP trainer. I have the ability to understand what's going on with me, maybe sometimes not in the heat of the moment, but when I take a beat and I lean back a little bit, I have the spiritual awareness that, oh, this is happening for a reason for me to bring out to the world, right? And so I go through things and then I teach them, and then I go through things and then I teach them. And that's one of my greatest gifts, is being the student and the teacher in the same breath. With rejection, here's the key, guys, is that you get to play with rejection. When I say you get to play with rejection, I'm saying that with 100% confidence. Okay, rejection, let's go. Where was I not being in my goddess? Oh, is there something better for me at the other end of this? Is there an opportunity that I'm in contracted energy that I'm not allowing into my fields right now? See, you can't get past the upper limit, guys, unless you break through whatever the resistance is. And so in the manifestation process, you have to ask, you have to have a desire, you have to believe it's possible. And then you have to, do the inner work and release the resistance against it. And from that space, you have to detach. Rejection is always teaching you detachment. One, it is teaching you self-love. The second, it is teaching you detachment, right? Detach from the outcome. What magical thing is happening behind this rejection? Is it that it's a hell yes on the other side of it, but maybe the hell yes looks a lot different than I attached my energy to? Maybe I'm at my upper limit and I'm not allowing more in, right? Maybe that rejection is saying, oh my gosh, everything is going so well. I'm going to bring rejection in right now to show you that you need to actually go further than your upper limit. So it is this cool game that you get to not be in self-destruction when rejection shows up. When you understand that it is not personal, right? It's personal in the sense that you have work to do. When rejection shows up in your life, you have work to do because you have to break through that upper limit. And on the other side of that upper limit, you have to detach and you have to find you and you have to find your self-love and you have to find your self-worth. And it is so powerful. Again, I work with fear almost always with my clients, and anger is a big one. I don't really have that much fear. I have more anger than I have fear. And if fear comes up, I really use it as a motivator, not a debilitator, but it does come up every once in a while. When rejection comes up in my life, it is, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Like, I am not kidding, guys. When rejection comes up in my life, I pause, I take a beat, I lean back. I actually I literally wrote a full 2-page letter from rejection and my future self. And it allowed me to see where I was stopping myself. I wrote this letter from rejection and it was like, okay, hey, Noelle, you're doing this and you're doing this and you're blocking yourself from your upper limits and you're afraid and you're attached and you have needy energy. And I paused and I was like, whoa, that's what's going on in my field. And that was what's actually was showing up in my life, right? It was things that were just kind of chaotic and like strange, weird things that I can't even explain, but they were like things that I would never get rejected for, like ever get rejected for. Like I got rejected in that space. And it was like, something's off, right? Because there's not very much in my life that I don't manifest because I know how to manipulate the energy. And if I'm getting rejected in some way, it's because I'm attached. I have needy energy. So needy energy is actually the opposite of attracting. It repels you. Needy energy repels people. It repels energy. It repels the desire. It repels jobs. It repels everything. And within rejection is always the neediness, right? It is, I need validation. I need love. I need this person to like me. I need this person to commit to me. I need and it is this story that you've told in your unconscious mind that your inner child feels so safe and so important. But when rejection shows up, it is the best opportunity to say, hey, God, oh, there's something better on the other side. Oh, is there a better version of me that I'm not allowing out there? Is there something that I can do that can work with this? And it is such a beautiful gift that rejection is divine protection. And I've said that 1,000 times, but it's not, oh, something better for you is on the other side, sweetie. Yeah, maybe. It's, oh, something better, the version of you or the better relationship or the more alignment or more happiness is on that other side of your upper limit that you get to do the work within. So guys, we're going to go deep into rejection today. That was a lot. We're going to take a quick break and come back. And I'm going to teach you actually how to find rejection, how to break the pattern, how to move through rejection and not take it so personally. Use it as a motivator to get you desired. Know that on the other side of the rejection is something magical. And I literally 2 seconds before I got on the show, I text one of my really good friends and a dear friend of mine. And I just said, something magical is happening. Like something magical is happening. Why? Because on the other end of rejection, there is magic. There is magic on the other end of rejection. I'm going to show you guys how to get there in just a little bit. Stay tuned, guys. We will be right back. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. Thanks for being here on the live. Thanks for watching the replay. Today we are talking about the energy of rejection and how it is moving you through your upper limits and how to actually move through your upper limits, use it as a motivator, play a game of chess with rejection, and absolutely get everything you've ever desired. Might not look exactly how you thought though. And that's the thing. Okay, so in the first segment, we talked about what rejection looked like in the electromagnetic fields, how to manipulate it, how to work with it. I'm going to talk now about pausing and understanding that when you are so attached to an outcome and it feels like rejection, that's a lower vibration, right? If it does not feel good, guys, you are not on the right path, just so you know. And so in the electromagnetic fields, your emotions are your guidance system. 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 So on the other end are the low vibrations. And I don't want to be like, oh, dude, you're low vibration. No, at all. You're not low vibration. You're just in that space. It's the same frequency as your desire. It's just the other end of it. And you have to move to the other end of your frequency to get there. So with rejection, right? Often people go into fear, anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, and shame with the rejection, right? They ruminate in those vibrations. Right. But if you take rejection and you move those over to the opposite end of the frequency of rejection, and you start to look at rejection as a gift, and you start to say, well, one, this is teaching me. Two, I have emotional attachment somewhere, right? How do I learn the meaning of detachment? How do I understand and not take this personally? Most of the time, when rejection comes up, it is outside circumstances that are going on that are just showing you your vibration, right? You create your reality. When I tell you you create your reality, you're co-creating your reality with God. You get to choose where you are. But your soul, the universe, and energy, it doesn't care if you're rejected. It doesn't care if you're angry. It doesn't care if you're in fear. It doesn't care if you're in hurt. It doesn't care if you feel like your inner child is coming out. It's just showing you to expand. It's showing you that at the other end of this rejection is something massively powerful beyond your upper limits that your subconscious is blocking you from. And so how do you move through that, right? Again, one, you do the inner work. Two, you have self-awareness. Three, with rejection, the best thing you can possibly do is detach. When you don't care, that's when you are magnetic. You are so magnetic. I want you to think of a time when you were super, super needy in your life and guilty as charged, right? I have anxious, personality where, excuse me, where, I'm a control freak, and I definitely, when I don't have control and I feel rejected, that's when I used to be like, oh my gosh, this person's rejecting me, and lean in and like all this stuff. What happens now, I mean, I do have to say that this is a process I'm still working through, definitely, is detaching. Detachment is such a beautiful thing. It gives you so much clarity. When something isn't for you, it doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they didn't want you. It doesn't mean you're not worthy, that you're not lovable. It only means, and I must have stuff coming up because of my throat is like, my throat chakra right now. So my truth is coming out with rejecting it as well. Excuse me. So it only means that detachment is needed in the space, meaning that look within yourself and lean back. As soon as the rejection happens, what emotion just happened? Where were you on the emotional scale? Where were you with the vibratory scale? Did you immediately go, oh my gosh, sorry guys. Did you immediately go to anger? And this happened with me this week. That's why I'm teaching it to you guys this week, right? Is that So something happened where it was I was so attached to the outcome and so attached to the desire and so attached, like I was trying so hard. I was trying so hard. I was trying so hard. The divine feminine energy is just leaning back, taking a beat, not taking things personally, right? And so with the rejection, pause. How are you feeling right now? Why are you feeling that way? This is a trigger for you. Oh, okay. So when you're in anger, I'm going to go through each of the 5 core emotions with you. When you're in anger and rejection, the only thing that's going to happen is that you're going to ruminate in anger, and more is going to come up and more rejection is going to come up from that anger. Or you take that anger and you use it as a motivator. You transmute the anger into joy and happiness, moving through your upper limit and understanding that there is something behind it that is better for you or more in alignment for you. You're not in alignment. You're not in alignment. You're not in alignment with any of the 5 core emotions. So that's the thing with anger. With fear of rejection is huge. And I work with so many of my clients because it's abandonment moods, right? Neglect and abandonment moods. Go back to your childhood and say, where was I neglected? Where was I abandoned? Oh, okay. So when I get rejected, my inner child comes out and I literally feel like I'm abandonment. I'm reliving that wound all over again. That's the work that you have to do. With hurt, and when you feel like butt hurt when you get rejected, that is 100% your ego. I'm going to say that again. When you feel butt hurt when you get rejected, it's 100% your ego. So where can you be more spiritual mature? Was the situation calling you for spiritual maturity? Was the situation asking you to not be hurt? Maybe it had nothing to do with you. Maybe that you're on the other end of it, you're not seeing that there's something better for you. Maybe at the other end of it, it's just not a good match for you, right? The next is guilt and shame. And I want to talk about how guilt and shame ties so much into rejection. Because guilt and shame is the lowest vibration on the free. It is absolutely the lowest. When you have guilt and shame for anything, this is karma coming back to you. This is, the law of cause and effect. When you do something to harm someone and you get rejected in other ways, it is truly because your soul has come here to work through the karma of guilt and shame. I'm going to say that again, and that's powerful and hard, but in guilt and shame, almost always, when you get rejected, it is your karma coming back to you. Do unto others as you want unto yourself. And when you treat people in a way that is not kind, or you reject people, or you're just not honoring yourself or your boundaries, or you're not honoring God, or you're not honoring them, that is when the karma comes in. So again, big concept, but when you're working with anger, take a step back, use that anger to transmute it, because you're one neural net pathway away from that passion. Use that anger as passion as opposed to anything else. The rejection could just really truly mean that you're moving through your upper limits. Use that to move through your upper limits. Fear, something similar to fear, work with your inner child, mostly with fear. What's going on? It's mostly abandonment. It's mostly neglect in that space, right? When you're hurt, it is 100% you are in your ego. Be spiritual mature. Maybe the situation's asking for more spiritual maturity or emotional intelligence in that space. How is it that you can be better, right? That's with hurt. And guilt and shame. This is a big one. Where did you reject someone else? Where are you rejecting yourself? Where did you treat someone in the way that you shouldn't have been treated? They shouldn't be treated. Where did you treat yourself in a way that shouldn't have been treated, right? That is such a huge understanding of rejection. And when you get, you kind of peel the layers away from rejection or fear or anger or hurt and guilt and shame, it has no power. And that's the most important thing I want to talk to you guys about, is when you allow your emotional body and your energetic body to have power over you, right? I do have to say that I mean, I feel my way through life, guys. When I tell you I feel my way through life, I feel, I know, I see things. And I'm a crazy super empath. I know things before they happen. I feel things so deeply. I mean, when I have so much Scorpio on my chart, it's ridiculous. I'm Capricorn, but I have so much Scorpio on my chart. So I feel, right? I'm water. I'm an earth. I have all these elements. When you know that it's your feelings are controlling you and you're not controlling your emotions, that is the most important thing to understand. I am 1,000% guilty that I am unicorns and bubbles in one moment until I'm not. And when I'm not, it's the storm, right? And just let the storm pass. I'm getting better at understanding that, my emotions and how they affect others, and really in my emotions. So, what I'd like to invite you to do this week is just anytime rejection comes up in your life, do a self-evaluation. Go through the 5 core emotions. Ask yourself where you are on the vibratory fields, right? Because you can use this energy as to move you into your upper limit, through your upper limit, to your desire. On the other end of rejection is always your desire. So it's your desire that may not look anything like what you expect it to look. So release the expectations, release the attachment, release the neediness, release the fact that you're not worthy or you're not good enough, release the fact that you can actually manipulate rejection. You really, truly can. And if you understand rejection at its core, it is there to teach you. It is there to show you how to break through this upper limit. For me, my upper limit is, and this is a constant journey for me, but I was in a relationship that it was going amazing. It was the best relationship of my life. And we hit our upper limit, and, things came up, like a lot of rejection came up for me, where, because I wanted to be married, but I was afraid to be married. And so I had to work through a lot of the things in the relationship aspect of it, right? Why? Because of my history in relationships. So I had to go back and be completely honest with myself when the rejection came up, and was like, okay, where am I at my upper limit? Where am I attached to this relationship, to this person? Where am I, is there something greater for me on the other end? Maybe. Or is it just both of us need to be greater, right? Is it, we are not in alignment? Is it a no? Is it a yes, but not now? Or is it something better? And you have to have full honesty with yourself, guys. You have to be full on honest with where you're at, right? I'm going to be full transparent on national television right now. Like, I know at the other end of this, I'm getting married. And I know for sure, without question, that I've been closer with the relationship that I was just in than any part in my life. I allowed myself to open up my heart and my soul more than I ever had. Was I ready? No, not quite, because we're still working through some massive, massive things, right? If I were ready, it would already be in my reality, meaning it's already done somewhere, and I understand that it's already done, and I know that I'm married, and I know that there's a version of me that's already married. I know I have work to do, and I know I've been doing the work every single day, and I know that as soon as I'm a vibrational match to it, him or someone better will show up. I want you guys to do the exact same thing, meaning that you have to be fully honest with yourself when rejection comes into your life. You have to be like, okay, 1, how do I have to take accountability? 2, how do I work with these emotions, and how do I manipulate them into busting through my upper limit? And 3, facing everything that's coming up and saying, okay, this is not my truth, but I was super attached. I did have neediness. I did have all of these things, right? And from that space, I mean, rejection is just part of life. It is just a part of life. And so is fear, and so is anger and hurt and sadness and guilt and shame. It's just an emotion, and it's just a part of life that you get to move through, right? I promise you this, guys, that I don't know anyone. And this is the honest to God truth. I do not know anyone on this planet really, in my world, at least, I'm sure there's more people on the planet, that as soon as something comes up in their life, I instantly go inside and I'm like, okay, God, what do I need to do? And I instantly do the work. And I am like, I am obsessed with emotional health. I am obsessed with physical health and mental health as well. I'm obsessed with being in alignment with God. And I encourage you to be more like that. I mean, you don't need to be as obsessed as me, because I teach meditation, and I will literally go from extremely angry at something and instantly into meditation and be like, okay, God, how do I fix this? How do we fix this? It's not outside, it's inside. And when you understand that, I'm encouraging you to do more of that. Become a little bit more obsessed with you, not with the outside world, not with the desire, not with the ring, not with the dude, not with anything. Be more obsessed with you. Be more obsessed with the fact that this rejection is coming up because you were in a vibrational match to what you needed to be. Period. You were either allowing something in that was not good for you, or you were allowing something in at a lower vibration, or you were not at the vibration you were supposed to. Period. You get to change your reality. You get to live a higher self. You get to manipulate time and space. You get to not be in attachment. There is nothing in this outside world, nothing that is going to make you happy. There is nothing that is going to give you validation. There is nothing that is going to give you love. There is nothing that is going to give you health other than you and your relationship to your higher self and God and spirit. And I promise you, rejection is showing you that you are not connected to you. You are disconnected from God in some way. Period. You are disconnected from God in some way with rejection. Why? Because it is there to show you you need to expand. It is that simple. It is a blessing in disguise. You get to use rejection in this amazing sense of, hey, I know that there is something magical on the other side of this. And I promise you this, guys. I promise you this. You start to look at rejection as your friend. You start to look at fear as your friend. You start to look at anger as your friend. You start to look at guilt and shame as your friend. And you start to do the inner work, and it's a part of you. You start to look at these lower vibrational emotions as a part of you. You don't need to stay in the healing loop, guys. I am not a believer. I was a healer for years. I mean, I'm a quantum energy trainer. I'm an energy healer. I was a healer for years. I do not believe you stay in the healing loop. I believe you do the work. It's very methodical. You do the work. You ask questions. You find out what's going on. You move on. Great. I mean, other than that, how do I expand from this? How do I move through this? How do I actually break through my upper limits to get through that? Detachment. The answer is always detachment. The answer is always detachment. When you see how magnetic you are on the other end of that rejection, when you detach, either that exact person or that exact job or that exact thing that you wanted will either show up in a better version, or it will show up with you exactly the way it was, but you're now in alignment with it. This is the coolest thing in the world, guys, is that rejection is showing you how to break through your upper limit. So from this space, I told the person that I was in a relationship with, I'm like, I'm getting married. You may not be a part of it, but I am getting married. He didn't like that very much, but it's the truth. But I also acted in a way, as soon as I was rejected, I acted in a way where I was the tiger against the wall. And I was honest with myself, and I was like, whoa, what was that? Right. The tiger came out, and things went, sideways. The second I paused, and the second I did the work, and the second I leaned back, I was like, okay, God, I got this flood of overwhelming love through me. I mean, when I tell you, it felt like I've never been more loved in my entire life. And then at the other end of it, I went into meditation and I saw myself, I was already married, and I saw myself and my higher self was talking to me. It was literally an upper limit that I had to break through. I'm telling you guys, every single one of you have this exact same thing within inside you. When rejection comes up, it is the same thing. You're just getting alignment with you and God. That's it. It's not. The spiritual mature thing is to understand that it's a very immature, childish way to look at rejection, that it's about you. It is never about you unless you're talking to you. It is never about you with the other person. It is never about you with the job. They're just looking at, I just don't want this in my life right now, right? But they're showing you and mirroring to you your vibration. And when you get that one piece, guys, that there is nothing that is showing up in your physical world outside of you that is not going on inside of you. There is an infinite field of possibilities that you get to tap into. You get to change and transmute the energy, and something better will come up, or that person or place or job will come up for you and it'll be better for you, right? Or something better will come up. That's what you get to do with rejection. It is so incredible and so powerful. We're going to take another quick break, and then I'm going to give you key takeaways of how to actually understand and work with the emotions of rejection. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. We are talking today about the depths of it, rejection, what that looks like in the emotional and energetic fields, and how to transmute it into your actual desire, moving through your upper limits into your desire and your circle of greatness. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here on the live. Thanks for being here on the replay. So in the first segment, we talked about what rejection was in the electromagnetic fields and how to actually work with that and manipulate it. In the second section, what we did was we worked really deeply into the core of rejection and the 5 core emotions and how to understand rejection. We peeled away what rejection looks like. Now I want to give you key takeaways, like what to do when you feel rejected. First and foremost, I want you to breathe. Because, this is, when you react from rejection, right, as opposed to respond, it is a very different outcome. I promise you that. So with rejection, the first thing that you do when you react, and I'm very guilty, national television admitting that even just this week I reacted with rejection, and it exploded and it wasn't a good outcome. I paused and then responded from that space, and that's when I got clarity, right? And so with you, if you take a minute, understanding your emotions, having emotional intelligence through the thing, walking through the steps that we just talked about in the second segment, and understanding that where are you being attached, and how do you attach to something that you're so emotionally attached to? That is the biggest thing I want to ask with rejection. Is I want to ask you a really hard question that I had to ask myself this week. And I need you to do this. When rejection comes up, or fear or anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, and shame, I want you to go into the energy of the worst case scenario. You're like, wait, what, Noelle? You want me to go into the energy of the worst case scenario? Yes, I actually do. When rejection comes up, I want you to go into the worst case scenario. I want you to feel the energy of the worst case scenario. I want you to understand the energy of the worst case scenario. That's where your attachment is. If it's that the person is rejecting you and they're rejecting you because you're not going to be with them, what's the worst case scenario? That, maybe they'll be with somebody else, or they cheat, they lie, whatever it is. I want you to go into that energy. This is not an easy task. You go into the energy of what's the worst case scenario. Then you pause and you take a look from an observer's point of view, an outsider's point of view, and you say, why was this rejection coming up for me right now? Where am I at my upper limits? Where am I being needy? Where am I being attached? Where were my boundaries crossed? Where are my needs not being met? Right? I want you to flip that switch and take your power back in that sense of rejection. This is how you take your power back with rejection. You're giving that circumstance, that job, that person, that man, that woman, all of your power. And I want you to ask yourself in a moment of rejection where you gave your power away. Go into the worst case scenario, feel the energy of that, have a relationship with that. Was it fear? Was it anger? Was it hurt? Was it sadness? Was it guilt and shame? Write a letter from rejection to yourself. I've done this, and I promise you it's profound and mind-blowing. You will get so much insight when you write a letter from the rejection to yourself. From that space, I want you now go into the opposite. And I want you to see the best case scenario from this rejection. And I want you to feel into the energy of the best case scenario. I want you to talk to your future self. I want you to see what the message was behind this rejection. And I want you to actually write a letter from that space. This is the most profound exercise. I do this with so many of my clients. I actually even did it with myself this week, and I sent it to the person that I was, in a relationship with. And so, with that being said, literally, it will give you peace of mind. First of all, take a beat. Know that you are loved, you are worthy, you are good enough, you are safe, secure, and protected. That nothing outside of you is happening, and everything will be okay. That's the first and foremost thing. Secondly, go into the worst case scenario. What is the worst possible case scenario that your monkey brain is? Because here's it, and this is a mind hack, guys. And I'm an NLP trainer, and I teach how to literally hack energy and your thoughts and belief systems. If you already come up against the worst case scenario, your unconscious mind can't literally hide it from you anymore, because if it literally will show you exactly where your fear, anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, and shame is. If you're avoiding going into the worst case scenario, you're avoiding the pain that your unconscious mind is trying to keep you safe from. So the hack that you can do, the NLP mind hack that you can do, is go into the worst case scenario, and I want you to feel all those emotions. It's not going to be, this is not an easy task. You got to be, take a beat, be in a place where you're calm, go in and if you need to, like, talk to a pillow, punch a pillow, like things, the emotions are going to come up, but you're going to get to the core of what's going on with the rejection. That I promise you. You go into the worst case scenario is your fears, right? That's what you're fearing in the rejection. And then from that space, I want you, the letter, you'll get so much profound, so much, like profound messages from the letter. It is so important to do this piece. Sit down, read that letter out loud to yourself, so your unconscious and your subconscious mind can understand what it's afraid of. Then from there, I want you to actually have a conversation with yourself and be like, whoa, this is what it's teaching me. This is and then how do you need to be different? What action steps do you need to do to be different? I need to lean back, right? Always, in any case, I'm always going to tell everyone to lean back. And I am 1,000% guilty of needing to lean back, believe me, because when I'm in my wild horse, it's a wild horse. Just let me run until the race is over. But when you lean back and you're not needy, you are so magnetic. It allows the space to move from contracted energy to expanded energy. It moves the fear, the anger, the hurt, the sadness, the guilt and shame. It moves it out of your vibratory field, and it actually allows energetic space, one, to breathe, but two, to invite something in, whether it is the thing that you were actually rejected by and you were resisting, or something better that's coming in from that space. That is the best way to play chess with rejection, right? You are more powerful than you will ever know. You are spiritually mature. You are God, you're a goddess, you are God within you in a physical body, and you can manifest anything that you want. When you look at the worst case scenario, it allows your unconscious mind to process the worst case scenario. And it can't stay in your unconscious mind anymore, guys. It cannot stay in your unconscious mind anymore if you understand that you're facing your greatest fear. You're facing the anger. You're facing the rejection. You're facing the abandonment. You're facing whatever it is that your unconscious is trying to keep safe. Because here's a tremendous thing about the upper limits and rejection. Your identity, and we have a couple minutes left, and I want to talk about this and how important it is. Your identity that your unconscious mind has attached to is creating the rejection for you to not have that identity anymore. Meaning that your soul is expanding, your spirit is expanding, God's asking you to expand, and your energy is expanding, but your ego is staying safe. Always with rejection, you are asked to change your identity. It is terrifying to your unconscious and subconscious mind. It is terrifying to move through your upper limit. But if you face that and you deal with rejection and you have a conversation with rejection and you go into the worst case scenario and you go through all of the emotions, and like I talked about before, you ask yourself where you're accountable for this. You ask yourself where you're needy, what you take inspired action to be different. And here's the most important thing with rejection. You have to change your behavior. You have to change your behavior. Now, there'll be often times when the upper limit comes up that you will revert back to that exact behavior that was so destructive to you. Why? Because it is exactly what your unconscious knows. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to go through and you're going to literally be in a space where you may think that you've had so much growth in this space, but all of a sudden something comes up and then you act exactly the same way that you thought you had growth in. What's happening is it's just a different layer that you're moving through in your upper limit, and you're actually moving that much closer to your greatest desire that you have. And so it's a huge, huge, huge concept. But when you understand that the rejection piece in the quantum fields is truly teaching you to break through these upper limits to get to your desire, right? The manifestation is right on the other end of the rejection. If you understand how to work with it, if you understand that, I'm going to be raw and real. There are so many times, and this came up with me this week, where I was like, I told myself and I told the person that I was in a relationship with, there's no adult in this room. And the inner child will win every single time if you let it. And sometimes you need to be a little bit like hard and be like, grow the F up, right? Your 4-year-old child is taking care of your life. If you left a 4-year-old in charge of a house and you went away for a weekend, the 4-year-old would either be dead or the house would be probably burned down. But you're leaving your inner child in charge of your world, in charge of your reality, in charge of your life. Change your life. Thoughts become patterns, patterns become beliefs, beliefs become reality. Change your life by working with the rejection, not against it. It's absolutely, absolutely, absolutely upstream if you're working against the rejection. Working with the rejection is working in flow into your manifestation. It's that simple, guys. It is that simple to understand that the energy of rejection truly is divine protection. The energy of rejection is showing you your exact frequency when it comes to your desire. Work with the rejection to move through your upper limit, to move through your resistance, And on the other side of that rejection is something magical. And it is a gift. It is a gift. Rejection is the greatest, greatest, greatest gift, because it shows you, it literally is like, this is where you are and this is where you need to be. This is what's happening and this is what's blocking you. Detach. Detachment is such a huge component in the manifestation process. Needy energy repels. Needy energy repels. Needy energy repels. You know what's magnetic? Electromagnetic fields, thoughts, and heightened sense of emotion. What is crazy magnetic is once you have the thought that is a high vibrational thought, it gives you a high sense of emotion that is not on a lower frequency. It's going to bring your frequency up. Your vibratory fields are going to, just emanate out to the world. You're going to go into love, acceptance, self-love, authenticity. You're going to be in a higher vibration, and something magical is going to happen from that space. It is the greatest gift to understand emotional intelligence, guys. It is the greatest gift to work in your emotional body, in your mental body, in your physical body, in your energetic body. We run retreats all over the world, and I work specifically with people like this that are working with rejection, with abandonment, with neglect, and lifetime wounds. We go deep into your wounds and we break you free. If you're interested, go to noelleagape.com and join us on one of our adventure therapy retreats, or join one of my programs. We have so many things. There are free meditations on my website. There's so much that you can do. Get the help that you need. Be emotional, intelligent, and spiritually mature. Do not have the 4-year-old child run your life anymore. Again, go to noelleagape.com. If you need help, there's free resources there for you. There's tons of programs for you. There's tons of people on YouTube that you can get help from. Get the help. Do the work. You are more powerful than you know. The world needs you in your power. When you are rejected, it is divine protection, meaning that there's something better for you, or you are not in alignment with you. Get right with you. Get right with God. Get right with what you want. Get in alignment with your desire, and then detach and enjoy life, guys. You get this one time, maybe few if you believe in different lifetimes, but you get this moment in time. Fear is an anxiety. Fear is worrying about what's going to happen, right? And depression is the past. Where from the rejection are you locked into the depression of the past or the anxiety of the future? You are more powerful than you know. Step into your power. Have a relationship with fear, anger, hurt, sadness, guilt, and shame. Have a relationship with your inner child. Be spiritually mature. Grow up. The world needs you at your best. Be in your power and work with your emotional body. Work with your physical body. Work with your mental body. That is overall health. Working in all 4 realms of you to be the greatest version of you. Bring your gifts out to the world. Learn and then teach. Be the student and the teacher in the same breath. And bring your gifts to the world, because the world needs you in your power more than ever. I love you guys from my soul. And I know that with this, next time you're going to take rejection and you're going to move it to your desire. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.